Hello, my name is Susan. I am a healer, a teacher, and a mentor. And today we're going to talk about how to connect with our spirit helpers and guides. I think of all the different things that I have taught and never will teach, this is the most important thing. I think most, if not all, of life's frustrations, pain, confusion can be cleared up quite quickly when we have accurate information. Even if it goes against our beliefs, if we know what's really going on, what's really important for us individually, what's really important for us collectively, then everything kind of goes a whole lot smoother. A lot of the angst I see are folks being confused about what's going on, disinformation right and left. And that was not a political statement, but we'll go there too. It's very hard. It's very confusing. Obviously, everything's reaching a fevered pitch, and all of that disinformation continues to get murkier and murkier. So, I will simply offer what has helped me. If this calls to you, give it a try. If not, then find something better for you. I support that. I'm going to show you how to do what I call a modified shamanic journey. It's very simple, very, very simple. The trick is to do this perhaps even often. I do it almost daily, just to check in with my guides, see if there's any messages that I need to know. It's one thing for me to ask a question, which I certainly can do, and I do, but it's another thing to have something out there that I don't even know about, so I don't know to ask. But they know all about me. And so I will often journey in the morning, or throughout the day. If I'm feeling foggy and I'm not sure, I'll just go find a quiet moment. And trust me, the more you do this, the quicker it is. So if you're trying it for the first time and you're not sure, just keep at it. It's like any other communication skill. The more you do it, the better you get at it. It's like developing any other kind of relationship. If you're not used to talking to your guides and spirit helpers, then get to know them. Some of these beings, these wise ones that I've been talking to for more than 30 years. And they have been 100% correct as decisions are made and things pan out. And I'm like, yeah, they were right all along. So some of that trust is developed certainly over time. So allow that to happen. Just because you meet somebody, you don't just open arms wide and say, blah, 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 here's everything about me and here's my checking account and I trust you completely. Of course not. Of course not. So let this relationship and these relationships evolve over time. But as we do that, or I should say, as I have done that, it's been a complete game changer for me. It's where I find my clarity. And they may say, go take this class or read this book or talk to this person, and I'll get more clarity from those resources. But certainly if it is suggested by one of my trusted wise ones, then I know for sure that's the information I need. All right, let's define terms for just a moment. We sometimes, semantics, right? One person's talking about one thing, one person's talking about another. Again, basic communication skills 101, define terms. Make sure we're all on the same page. So for me, I refer to guides as those spirit beings that we have a karmic agreement with. We, before this lifetime, agreed as a group, and usually it's a small group. It could be one to several, depending. I don't know why. I just know when I work with clients, it's usually a small group. These are the beings who know us and have agreed to come and be with us constantly. So I'm talking 24/7, birth to death. They are with us all the time. all the time. And if we utilize this ability to connect with them and contact them and have conversations with them. And again, this technique I'm going to show you is not the only way. If you got some jam going on that works for you, stick with that, or maybe try it and see if that might expand it. But whatever way you use to connect with them and talk to them, do that. And I will tell you, working with clients and myself as well, oftentimes we're already doing that on some level. You know, you may have a gut feeling, go left instead of right. I really need to call this person. You know, some of that's just our natural intuition. And if you're a human, you are intuitive. That's born in us. Again, there are skills involved, so you can enhance all of that. But we're all intuitive. But it might be our guides giving us a little nudge, like, hey, look over there. Or call this person, and so on. So often as we connect with our guides, we realize, hey, that's kind of a familiar voice. I sort of already know that. No surprise. So guides, constantly with us. Now, I use the term spirit helpers for those beings who come and go as we need them. So, for example, I'm really feeling drawn to create community right now. I mean, it's just like coming out of my pores. It's who I am. I'm so excited. I'm so thrilled about this. And this has just been in the last couple of months. And so it's all bubbling up. And so I've been working quite a lot with Elephant, for example, who's all about family and all about community. And so, for example, you could Google spiritual meaning of elephant. If you've got an animal that's always been near and dear to you, look around your room. If you've got posters and stuffed animals and pictures of a certain animal, that might be a clue. And trust me, you can start having conversations with these beings. They are real. They have a very specific magic or energy, abilities, and they can help us with that. So if all of a sudden you're out and you see an animal, the other day, magpie. I never worked with magpie before, but I kept seeing the magpie. And so sure enough, I went home, looked up spiritual meaning of magpie, and boom, all kinds of information that I needed. And so I've been sitting with magpie for a while. So pay attention. Who's coming into your life? And it doesn't have to be the actual animal. It could be a dream. It could be a YouTube video you stumble across. I mean, if you're open, all things reflect truth. And so these messages can come to you. So who's calling? Who's got something to say? And are you listening? And how do you listen? So here's an idea. The first thing I do, always, even before I get out of bed, but certainly before I go on a shamanic journey or a meditation or whatever you want to call it, I don't care about the term on this. It's, like I said, it's a modified version of what I learned on shamanic journeys. So call it what you will. The first thing I do is set up sacred space. And basically that is clearing, grounding, and protection. I did go into more depth with this on another video. Maybe I'll put a link to that below. Any one of those we could spend a lot of time with, and I would recommend it. So if that's a new concept to you and you want to learn more, I'd explore that. If you kind of already have a system that works for you to do those things, but you want to bring in those three elements, make sure you feel grounded enough. Make sure you feel clear enough. Make sure you feel protected enough. And then that creates this container within which we can do our work. And that includes go to the grocery store or get out of bed in the morning or do a meditation to talk to my guides. Always set up that safe container of clarity and groundedness. So within that, grab something to write with. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to write some of these things down. We're going to write down a question. And really what the question is an intention, where we're going to head in this meditation, what we want to get out of this conversation that we're going to have with our helper. And that always, the more focused the question, the more clear the answer. I promise you on this. So, and you may not even know everything. If you're in a real funk and a muddle and you don't know what end is up, sometimes just help me, I'm confused. What do I need to know? Right? Perfectly good question. Or sometimes we know what we need, like, what's this thing going on between me and my mom? I don't understand it. I need some help. Or how can I solve the situation at work? It can be very, very specific. Write it down. Write your question down. I wouldn't do too many because it muddles the intention. You want to stay very focused. And so maybe a question, a possible follow-up question related to that. And so with that written down and you're sitting in your sacred space, I always like to have a little altar, a little table with some important items to me, maybe a little statue of elephant if I'm going to chat with elephant, whatever, have fun with it. I always like a candle. Certainly find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Let's see. Then off we go. So think about a very sacred, special place in nature. This could be anything, forest, beach. It could be under the water. It could be up in a tree. This place could be real. It could be imaginary. It could be a place that you visited in your childhood that no longer exists, but you just always loved it there. You felt safe. You felt connected to nature in like no other. So think of that place. And again, if you don't have an experience in one of those places, make it up. What pictures of nature do you feel drawn to? Conjure up one of those pictures. I love this mountain. I don't know why. Just see yourself sitting at the base of that mountain or in the mountain. So find your space, and that can morph over time, certainly. And you might want to even jot that down. Where is your sacred nature space? And then in quiet meditation, in your mind, see yourself going to that place and being in that place. You can stand, you can sit in your imagination, whatever feels right to you. But we're going with the intention of meeting a helping spirit. Now, remember, the helpers come and go as we need them. So if we do this twice, we might get two different helpers, or we might get the first helper on the second journey and they've brought somebody that they also want to introduce us to. Lots of different things can happen. So go, let your helper present themselves to you, and then ask your question. Now, here's the hard part for some of us. Listen. Just listen and pay attention. Now, we all perceive energy differently. So the answer may be coming in words or a fully formed thought. It could be pictures. They might take you somewhere and show you something, all kinds of things. And just pay attention to how you feel. Do I feel safe here? Does this person feel safe or familiar? Or am I leaning towards them like, I don't know who you are and I'm not sure really what's going on, but I feel like I want to hear what you have to say. So think about the surroundings. Think about how you're feeling in your imaginary body when you're going on this journey. Get your information. If you feel drawn to it, you can ask a follow-up question. Maybe have a conversation. Whatever feels right to you. And then I'd recommend not spending too much time. Again, we want to be focused. We go in, we get the information, and then come back. Come back to your body, so to speak, and wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Make sure you're fully back in your body, and then write. Jot down all of that information that you got, even if you weren't quite sure what it meant. Or you could say the sky was really cloudy and rainy, or, there was a feeling of brightness in the atmosphere. All of that, write all of that down. It's got meaning to it. And then you can come back to this. You can come back and say, now, what was that about again? Even if you don't understand it, like, wow, I saw a pink elephant and I don't know what that's about. Write it all down. This is very much symbolic work. So sometimes it takes sitting with these symbols to know what the meaning is. But once we do, it's very powerful information. And if you're having an experience and you're not sure what it is, call a healer, call a shaman, call a wise one that you know in your life, and ask for help. Like, hey, I met this being and they gave me this really interesting piece of information. I'm not sure exactly what that is. But even better, what I would do is go back another time, sit with that, maybe a different day, go back and ask a follow-up question. One of my shamanic teachers used to say, a journey begats a journey, which means, yes, you may get the answer to your question, but then it just opens up a whole nother universe of truth and meaning. So there's the first layer of truth, right? Okay, we got it. That's it. But then if we go back and we sit with it, what we often find is that there's a deeper level of truth. It doesn't mean the top level wasn't true. It just means, oh my goodness, there's more to this. And wow. And then you sit with that and you can go back and again, deeper level of truth. And this is a game changer. When we start looking at our truths and the truth, capital T, of the universe, yeah. And it can be hard. It can be mind-blowing because it doesn't always go parallel with our beliefs, what we think is real, what we think is good for us, what we think somebody said, or what their intention is towards us. You know, we may be very angry with somebody, and I may say, you know, how do I get along with this coworker? They're so horrible, and they think this, that, and the other. And my guide might say, nope, their mother's dying and they're having trouble at home and they're very distracted. And it has nothing to do with you, Susan. So be open if you can. Sometimes I literally ask for courage to hear the truth that's being presented to me. We get to be supported in this journey. The journey of truth can be a difficult one, but also a liberating one. Nothing has brought me more peace in my life than knowing what is. So I wish you well on your journeys, seeking truth and finding peace. Be well.